I'm taking this off because I can't breathe with it on, so here we go. Good morning. Welcome to the Treasure Coast Unitarian Universalist Congregation in Stuart, Florida. Today is March 29, 2026. My name is Cindy Summers, and I am your worship associate today. Can you hear me okay? Am I close enough? Okay. We are a welcoming congregation. We welcome people of all gender identities, ethnicities, ages, and backgrounds, recognizing the inherent worth and dignity of every person. We are here to celebrate, affirm, and put into action the interconnected living mission of the Unitarian principles that you'll find printed on the back of your order of service. We broadcast and archive our services on YouTube, and to be put on our mailing list or to find out more information about us, please go to our website at tcuuc.org. At this time, please take a moment to silence your cell phones. Just perfectly in time, right? Okay. We welcome anyone who is here for the first time or even the second time. Visitors, if you are comfortable, please step up to the microphone and introduce yourself. No pressure at all, but if you want to, that'd be great. Okay, so now for the announcements. Please see the printed order of service and the newsletter for all events and details. Join us the first and third Tuesdays at Poppleton Creek Park at noon for our brown bag lunch. This park is down the street adjacent to the dog park. And now for announcements. I have one right off the bat. Next week is Easter Sunday. And so what does that mean, everybody? Today's Palm Sunday. Next week is Easter Sunday, right? So what do we do on Easter Sunday now? That's a brand new thing we do. Eggs, the Easter egg hunt. Yes, 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 yes. So I'm going to just give you some hints about where the eggs will be hidden so you don't get lost outside. Okay, so they're going to be outside but kind of near the door. Also in the narthex, the sanctuary, and maybe a few in Heston Hall, but you're not allowed to look for them until we start. Okay? All right, and I think, is Shari here? Okay, there's also going to be an Easter bonnet contest like we had last year. Okay, so more announcements, please.
Hi, Tia was going to make this announcement, but she's not here yet, so I'll do it. On the subject of Easter, we have next week a cold buffet at noon. If you would like to join us, don't have other plans for Easter after the coffee hour, we'll have a cold buffet. Please bring a treat if you're able to. It'd be nice to have a sense of how many people are coming. And then the following week, on the 12th, is a big spring brunch bash. Because that date was moved, we still wanted to do something on Easter Passover weekend, and so that's what we came up with, a little cold buffet next week, probably for a smaller group of people, and then when everybody's back from whatever travels they're making, we'll have the big spring bash, and I think people are signing up for goodies for that day. Okay, so 2 different events. Thanks.
And I know Truman has an announcement.
Good morning, Truman for the social justice team. Back in October, we began a practice of every other month. We passed the baskets, we call it fill the baskets. Hopefully we fill them every time. And this will be our 4th time because April is another fill the baskets month. And with April being Earth Day, we begin, our hearts and minds start to think about the environment, care and love of the earth. And so our chosen organization that we're going to support in April is Audubon of Martin County. We'll have a speaker a little bit later that Tricia will introduce. Just a reminder, it's not this Sunday, it starts in April, but all 4 Sundays of April, the second offering when we pass the baskets will be to support Audubon of Martin County. Thanks.
Any more announcements? Okay. Okay.
She asked me to make those announcements, and I didn't make it in here in time. Okay. Today, as you remember, is our exciting annual meeting in Heston Hall after we have coffee and happy hour. So, well, coffee hour, coffee hour, coffee hour. Coffee is as much as some of us are allowed to drink anymore, so. Why we do an annual meeting is, and how we're going to do it, is that we need you all to know officially what's going on. The budget, the plans, you will be voting on the new slate of officers, because we all turn over on the 1st of April. And we have no idea who's going to be president next year. I'm joking. It's April 1st, right. On the way in, you can only vote in the annual meeting if you are a pledging member. So on the way in, Jim Rose is going to be sitting at a table. He will have the agenda to give everybody, and he will have a ballot to give everybody who is a member. If you have not yet turned in your pledge, he'll ask you, and he'll have a pledge form for you to sign out, so you can then vote. So that will happen at the table going in the door. Okay, speaking of pledging, when you put, I've said this before, but it bears repeating. When you put a check in the plate, we can't assume to read your mind. If it's towards your pledge, you have to write pledge on the info line. Otherwise, it goes into general money for the year. So make sure to write pledge on the line. Sometimes when it's the same thing from everybody, we catch that and we say, was this intended to be a pledge? Okay, and at the end of the service, follow the giant egg into the other room, because we're going to do the Good Egg Award during the annual meeting.
Oh, it's at my height. Good morning. I'm Sherry Louise, your hospitality chair, and I have a couple of announcements. Number one, the Easter bonnet contest that will take place next Sunday post-service. I have secured a gift certificate for a meal at Kyle G's on Hutchison Island. I think it's for maybe $50, but I'm not sure, so go for lunch. But the food there is outstanding. You can't order anything bad. And the other thing, I wasn't here earlier. Did you mention the cold buffet? Yes. Okay, for people who don't have plans, and bring a dish. And that's it.
Any other announcements? Okay. I was going to say I put my glasses on, but guess what? They're right here. Okay. All right. So we will have coffee and cookies in our social hall after the service. We will have happy... Anyway. All right. So, and a big thanks to those who helped with the service. Jackie Robbins, cello, stand-up bass. John Moore, guitar, and TCUUC choir for the music. Our greeters, Janet Grote and Pat Tosney. Our ushers, Judith and David, and who was the other one? Oh, I'm sorry, and Joanne. This page has got its stuff all over. Okay, and Joanne. Our tech support is Karina Poloni and Alistair Forrester. Our hospitality team is Shari Louise, Tricia Patterson, Jim Bisbee, and Florence Treagle. Our Reverend Our Reverend Bob MacDonald is in the pulpit today. And here's our prelude.
This is Johann Sebastian Bach, and it's in the key of the Judeo-Christian tradition. Do you mind?
Okay, the chalice lighting words. We light this chalice as a symbol of the light within us and the life that flows through the world around us. And that's Brian C. Lee in part. Okay, everything's okay? All right. So the opening words. Break down barriers. Spirit of life, come to us to break down barriers, to widen horizons, to make us less judgmental. Help us to see the larger picture and the kinder conclusion. To love and let live, to embrace and forgive, to sustain and care. Okay. And then for our first hymn is going to be We're All in This Together, all the verses. Stand if you like. And this is written by our very own John Moore. John Moore.
Thanks. We actually sang this a year ago, and hopefully every time we do it, it'll get better. The choir, me, every element, and I want to thank Jackie for joining us on bass for this. One of the challenges of writing a hymn is you want something that can stand the test of time. You know, that it doesn't just live in a particular moment. And I hope I accomplished that, and I thank you for listening. The lyrics are going to be up there. The melody's very simple, so please join in when you feel the spirit. And the choir's going to join me up here to do this. Okay. Get where the microphone can catch you. Okay. Yep, I do.
News is like a beating drum, insisting that we are not one. Such different places we come from. How can we live together? How can we live together? Science sees us all the same, a common spark, a spreading flame, that across time took many names. Forgot we were together, forgot we were together. Those are but imagined things, minds that only serve one king. Humanity, the song we sing, we're all in this together. 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 Across distances, we open up to differences and see their insignificance. So we can live together and learn to love each other. And we're all in this together.
Okay. Let us recite our affirmation, speaking the first verse and singing the second. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its love. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
Responsive reading 440 from The Fragmented World by Philip Hewitt. From the fragmented world of our everyday lives, we gather together in search of wholeness. By many cares and preoccupations, by diverse and selfish aims, are we separated from one another and divided within ourselves. Yet we know that no branch is utterly severed from the tree of life that sustains us all. We cherish our oneness with those around us and the countless generations that have gone before us. We would hold fast to all of good we inherit, even as we would leave behind us the outworn and the false. We would escape from bondage to the ideas of our own day and from the delusions of our own fancy. Let us labor in hope for the dawning of a new day without hatred, violence, and injustice. Let us nurture the growth in our own lives of the love that has shone in the lives of the greatest of men and women, the rays of whose lamps still illumine our way. In this spirit we gather, in this spirit we pray. Philip Hewitt. And now our matters of joy and sorrow, we invite you to share yours in the hope you will know that you are heard and supported. We ask that they be brief and personal. Let me begin with a few I know about and we all care about, and then others might come to the microphone. Judy Clow is to be released from Encompass on Thursday. Lou informed me. She's had quite a long struggle and she's not where she wants to be yet, but they're probably going to be staying a little longer, extending their snowbird stay. So I'd like to suggest to other snowbirds, feel free to extend your stay. Because when you are gone, we miss you and your seats here miss you. Anyhow, we hold on to Judy with our best thoughts. Suzanne Ellis is settling into Grand Oaks in Palm City. I know some folks have been there to see her. She's making some friends at the meal times, and we will continue to be checking in on her and hoping it goes well there for her. And Marguerite, you're going to tell us, where's Marguerite? You're going to tell us about Betty, aren't you? Yes. Betty O'Brien.
Cindy and I went to visit Betty last week, and she's doing relatively well. Her family is, her son is still there visiting. He lives up north. And I believe they're looking for assisted living for him. And of course, it's going to be in the Jupiter area, which is further from us. But her son and daughter-in-law teach at FAU, and they come in the morning to say hello to her, which is wonderful.
Yeah.
So we'll keep you posted. And she's doing well, right? Cindy, she's 98, but her problem is that she's weak in the legs, so
Yeah.
they're working on PT with her.
She's not weak in spirit, though, is she? For sure. Who else has a matter to share? Fred.
Mask on. Okay, anyway, I want to just say, if you want to visit Betty, go about 4 o'clock, because she has all her therapies and stuff during the day. And also let us know. Let Marguerite know, or, yeah, mostly Marguerite, because she keeps track of who's going. Okay.
Fred, who needs no mic, come up to the mic, Fred.
Hi, I'm Fred Dembowski, continuing saga with my daughter Kirsten. If you recall from past times I was up here, she had a liver transplant last April 15th. A week later, the aides dropped her out of her bed at Mayo Clinic in Rochester, Minnesota. broke her hip. She needed a hip transplant, which caused her kidney to fail, and she's been in dialysis since. And she's due for a kidney transplant, but couldn't be until after a year of her liver transplant, which is coming up next week. So I am going out there on Wednesday to take care of our grandson and their dogs while they go to Rochester, Minnesota to get her evaluated for a new kidney. I'm not sure how long I'm going to be out there, but it'll be a while.
And out there is North Dakota?
Yeah, they live in Grand Forks, North Dakota. It snowed last night there.
Wow. Fred, we hope for good news. Ronnie will deliver it to us, I trust, while you're there. Tia.
This isn't exactly personal, but so joyful I wanted to share it. I saw a PBS documentary about Dick Van Dyke this week. He is an amazing person, and he just published a book of 10 rules for living to be 100. And he's 99, so he's counting that to carry him through. It was just so joyful, and so I'm going to order the book. I want to know how to live joyfully to be 100.
One thing he says is keep moving.
Yes.
And I did go to see Suzanne Ellis. I'm Janet Grote. She is quite a conversationalist. So if you're looking for a good conversation, do go see Suzanne. She's physically still very, very active, and of course, mentally, she's very active.
We are a welcoming congregation, so we welcome conversationalists. Shari.
This is sort of personal. It was my joy to attend the No Kings rally yesterday. I didn't make it to the first one, but I was determined to go yesterday. And we had estimated about 3,500 people in attendance. And the amount of cars that went through that were honking at us made your ears get a little sensitive. But it was wonderful to see the enthusiasm and the joyfulness of people coming together. So if you have a chance to go to any of these events, please do, because there is such a camaraderie that is natural.
Okay. Any other personal matters to be shared?
Hello, my name is Jackie Robbins, and I was just reminded of a joy, which was that my mom was on the Dick Van Dyke Show before he was on television. He had a radio show, I think on Long Island. I was pretty young, so I couldn't get up that early because she was the first woman cantor. It was a big deal in 1955. And I have another joy, which is that I deleted, because I've been going a little crazy with the digital world, 15,000 unwanted emails last night. That's got nothing to do with the amount of texts I get. I delete like 900 every 2 days. My sorrow is that it kept me up till 5 in the morning.
Also, I wanted to mention, I have reported on my sisters in the past, one of whom I lost. My remaining sibling, Sheila, had surgery a week ago and came through it well. They had to rearrange her stomach and lung so the two of them didn't impede each other. Now, I haven't heard of that before, but it went well. She's in her daughter's care for a while, and I'm glad it went well, and I hope it continues to. Her name is Sheila Tinkler in Troy, New York. Anybody else? Scott, are you headed this way?
Good morning. 2 years ago, I shared with you that my nephew was being released from incarceration and moving into a halfway house. After 2 years, I am really pleased to report he is thriving, he's growing, he's doing just fabulous. I wish all of these stories turned out as well, and keep him in your prayers that they continue.
Good. Good to hear. Yes, one more.
Some of us had the fun of going to the Compassion Bench dedication at Pinewood School that Truman and his partner Carol donated, and hearing the little kids sing and seeing their artwork on the bench. And kudos to Truman for all his work on that. It was really great.
Good. We move one more for those that we haven't mentioned out loud but care about, and this is for them. Thank you, Cindy. And now a moment of silence. Spirit of Life, hymn 123, we hum a verse, we sing a verse, seated or standing. Before our offering, we have a special guest from the Audubon Society, a woman who is here really for the birds. And welcome. You want to come to this mic or whichever mic you're comfortable at? Are you going to, Are you introducing her? You can do so briefly.
It's my pleasure to briefly introduce Mary Wynn O'Brien, the docent coordinator for the Possum Long Nature Center, Audubon of Martin County. And I want to tell you just a little bit briefly about Mary Wynn. She is more than 6-year volunteer. She is here voluntarily today at the Audubon Center, but she's also a decades-long volunteer at the Gertrude Waldron Child Care Center in East Stewart, which is just down the road from Possum Long. And she has a master's degree in early childhood education and regularly brings kids down for bird watching. And if the photos work, you'll see some cuties with their little binoculars that she teaches them to use. Before this second career as a volunteer at all kinds of good things, like League of Women Voters and other things I don't even know about, she was a 27-year attorney for the United Steelworkers, and also worked in administration and personnel there. She's a bird lover, and she's going to tell us about the Possum Long Center and its needs, its mission, and hit you up for some cash.
Thank you. Welcome, Mary.
Thanks, Tricia. And just from your last hymn, I'm going to talk a little bit about roots and wings. I'm not a good microphone speaker, but thanks for inviting me here to ask for your generosity in reimagining our education amphitheater. We've had a huge, huge ficus tree. Some of you who may have been there, it's been there for many, many years. It was just taken down because it's invasive, it was non-native, it was decaying, and it was a falling hazard to people walking in that area. So that leaves us with an open area around the remaining lower portion of the tree. It's ideal for a platform and for native plants. The native plants are really essential. They're an essential foundation for a healthy ecosystem. They provide essential food and shelter for the native wildlife, for birds, for pollinators, for beneficial insects, and they're adapted to the local soil and the climate. They need less water, less fertilizer, less pesticides. So the examples that we're looking at for this area are things like the native strangler fig, which are fast growing and wildlife friendly. The red mulberry tree, which is ideal. It's a flowering plant, ideal for wildlife habitat, including butterflies and birds. And along with vines, such as the Dutchman's pipe vine, which is the host plant for the swallowtail caterpillar. It lays its eggs on there, the caterpillars feed on it, and then they put their chrysalis on it. So those are the types of things we're talking about for that particular area. And I don't want to talk too much about money, but in terms of cost, depending on the size of the plant, the number of the plants, you're talking a couple $100. Some plants are $30. You might need 10, so that's $300. So we're talking in that kind of range for that particular area. And we do have the ability to designate donated funds for that project. So even if we're not working on it right away, that money is set aside and on our books for that particular project. So the question I have now is, why Possum Long? Has anybody here been to Possum Long Nature Center? Good. It is a wonderful place in Stewart. I'll talk a little bit about its relationship. Audubon of Martin County was founded in 1955. It's a volunteer-run organization. Was founded probably by Maggie Hercella, was one of the people who founded it. Virginia Forrest, who has a beach named after her on Hutchinson Island. Our current president is John Nelson, who some of you know probably from the Audubon Moment on NPR radio. But the Possum Long Nature Center came about 20 years later in the 1970s when the area of Stewart was starting to be developed. It was an area called St. Lucie Estates, and it's just east of downtown Stewart by Palm Beach Road and Hibiscus Street and 7th Street. Some of the neighbors in that area wanted to see that protected from development. One of those individuals was Clifton Long, and he was a teacher at Martin County High School. He had a nursery and a house on that property. His nickname was Possum because when he was a teacher, he would pretend to be asleep or not paying attention to the high school students that he taught, and then he would wake up and catch them. So his nickname was Possum, so he was called Possum Long. When he passed away, his daughter donated the property to Audubon of Martin County with 2 provisions: that it be named after him, that's why we have Possum Long Nature Center, and that it be preserved in perpetuity as a nature preserve. So it is a big obligation of Audubon of Martin County to keep that property functioning and alive and open for the community. Over the next 10 years, the community did a lot of fundraising. They bought a couple more properties. So total, Possum Lawn Nature Center is 4.7 acres in that neighborhood. It's got a butterfly garden that's handicapped accessible. We have a new paved pathway there. Our office building is accessible. There's a wetlands, there's a pine flatlands, there's trails, there's picnic tables, there's bird feeders, there's an osprey nest, and for the past couple years we've been visited by the swallowtail kites, which come each spring from South America. They have built a nest on Possum Lawn for the past couple years. Just that little 5-acre property in Stewart houses those beautiful, beautiful aerial birds. The property is open from dawn to dusk. The office is open Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays from 9 to 3. Starting in May, it'll be 9 to noon. Homeschoolers use it. I take the preschool kids there. Adults with disabilities use it. We have the plein air painters group in around this area. They come about once a year and spread out around the property and do their paintings. We have a Tai Chi program. We have birders from around the country, and the neighbors also visit it. We have a big birds and butterflies event in February, and we have a Mission Backyard program there that helps people who want to make their backyards bird and butterfly friendly. So it's a calm place of calm and refuge in the midst of Stewart. It really is. People just go there for their lunch breaks. They go sit at the picnic tables, which are all accessible. And I encourage all of you to visit and enjoy this gem of nature and to support us as we work to reimagine our amphitheater area. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. We forgot to tell you that there would be a test question before you were allowed to speak. Now, can you handle it after the fact? The question is, are Egyptian geese or ducks? You know, they're beautiful too. Thank you for your thoughts and your offering. And now we invite the offering of all. We hope you experience generosity here, and you know we need to experience yours. Who are our ushers again? Audubon starts next week, the Audubon offering, in April. We're still in March.
Hired me to play for a friend who had had surgery, and instead of bringing flowers, and she lived on Whidbey Island, and I played for her on her deck, and eagles would come and fly around. What's going on here?
May I speak now? Our organizational meeting called our annual meeting inevitably links us with the UUA centered in Boston because we try to follow UUA guidelines for organizing rightly and effectively. This service today is framed by two hymns from the Creative Mourn siblings, Brother John here and Sister Mary Catherine, who co-wrote the concluding hymn. She's in Boston, so we're linked to Boston today in more ways than one. In nearly all my churches in the New York Conference of the United Methodist Church and here, newcomers would on occasion stand to be welcomed and would tell us they were looking for spirituality and not organized religion. Occasionally, I couldn't resist a bit of sarcasm. We really weren't that organized. One chair on a Long Island church told me I was too loosey-goosey, and that was before Google to look it up. So the spirituality seekers would sit through announcements of spring brunches and dinners we planned as community builders, and then also sermons, I hope, with social justice implications, and more than one on the way out would pass indictment. What does spirituality have to do with all that? They didn't get it, and they didn't want the way we got it. Which sends my minds in two directions. Now, these are digressions, but you have encouraged digressions and even told me they are the more interesting part. So, on my first trip to Israel in 1985, in the north, near the Sea of Galilee and the city of Tiberias, there is a small hill or mountain called the Cliffs of Arbel. There are many small caves overlooking city and sea. They are clearly waterfront property if you chose to live in those caves, which many did. We were told that solo monasticism began in such caves. Solo meant one person pursuing spirituality, prayer, silence, and living off whatever grew or entered on 4 feet or 2 wings. That kind of spirituality seeking had the name of Antony associated with it in the 1st century, I believe. We were told that it led to mental health trauma, a bit like loneliness and isolation rampant today. So group monasticism developed, brotherhood and later sisterhood, Benedict and Benedictine, and many more. You could be in pursuit of spirituality and look after brothers and sisters and care about communities around you. The second thread of organization I get from Methodist history in England. The Reverend John Wesley had a genius of organization, and it was lionized by the title, Organized to Beat the Devil. I was interested in his difficulties with mating. Clergy I have known become much more down to earth when they are honest about the challenges and failings of mating. I was told in the 1970s, when my life was falling apart and I was thinking, that can't happen in this career. while I was in a recareering program in Boston, my parishioners on Long Island contacted me and pled, we're sorry about your struggle, but you are much more approachable now. One said, you flounder like the rest of us. Now we can relate. That was really soothing to hear. Back to Wesley's matings, or attempts at. In his early years, he came over to Georgia, the colony, to proselytize among the colonists. He became enamored of one young woman who didn't return the vibe. So he found some excuse to withhold communion from her when she knelt at the rail. And when the colonists came to give their assessment of that exchange, he had beat a hasty retreat to a boat back to Mother England. He found someone to marry, but that didn't go well. Wesley had an idea of Christian perfection, and that included marriage. And after a number of years, while he was away doing his preaching thing, she packed up and left. When he was asked about it later, he is reported to have said, I didn't ask her to leave, and I wouldn't ask her to return. That poor woman, Molly Wesley. I had a topic. Why are we organized? What's that? My mic went off? And now I have to yell at you? Well, I don't mind yell at you. I feel that urge periodically. Is my mic on, Karina? Am I on now? No. Have you heard enough? Forget it. I'm continuing. There we are. There we are. Why are we organized? Shall I go through Wesley's matings again? Poor Molly. This is our organization day, our annual meeting, not to beat the devil. That's a mythology that doesn't make sense. Except the comedian Dick Gregory made it make sense. What I can't be honest about, the devil made me. We are organized to be the kind of congregation we need and want to be. Open mind, open heart, open door, welcoming, and not delusional about how close we are to perfection. We have principles to guide us, and we have each other to keep raising what we're missing. Anti-Semitism and racism are twin evils that don't require a devil, but make evil very real and sadly human. If you caught Anderson Cooper's whole story a week or so ago, I think it was last weekend, you learned that Christian nationalism has a hearing and cover in our Pentagon and endorses voting by the head of household only. And of course, no room for diversity. Just ancient Bible talk of one man and one woman. And guess which one gets to vote? I need all the spirituality you and I can find and mind within, and we need it to help us to stand and fight for what we believe in. These principles tell us where our humanity has shown and may yet. I especially like a free and responsible search for truth and meaning. That means to me we are free to question and to search. I've done a lot of searching in the self-help aisles of libraries and bookstores. Decades ago, this title grabbed me. If you don't know where you are going, you'll probably end up somewhere. If you don't know where you are going, you will probably end up somewhere. And this past week, another title at Barnes & Noble stopped me. That title, Don't Believe Everything You Think. I was looking for a book I had just heard promoted on Amanpour, PBS. Two men, Michael Linton and Joshua Steiner, had just published their book titled From Mistakes to Meaning, Owning Your Past So It Doesn't Own You. From Mistakes to Meaning, Owning Your Past So It Doesn't Own You. The interviewer asked them about their major regret in life. Linton had a big role in producing the 2014 movie, The Interview. I think it was a comedy and ends with the assassination of the dictator of North Korea. You remember that guy who exchanges love letters with an American president. So the real dictator learns about the movie and its plot and contacts Linton that if he proceeds with it, there will be major consequences. Linton says he can't stop the movie, and North Korea exacts major cyber punishment for its production. So 10 years later, Linton regrets that decision. The two authors say they interview about 75 people near the end of their fairly successful careers and ask the 75 for the major regret of their lives. And most of them tell about something they wish they had done rather than something they regret doing. The authors slip into religious lingo with sins of omission rather than sins of commission. Now, I'm telling my daughter in Wake Forest about this gem from Amanpour, and that I have them beat with the regret lists of both omission and commission. She says, me too, send the book as soon as you're done. So, church is the place where we honor our incompleteness and work on our refinement. And you get help, lots of help, surely some of it helpful from our fellow seekers and questers. We all get to define our idea of human and our idea of community. This congregation began with the vision of a few, and it has survived with the vision of a few. The reality is we always need a few more. It only happens with budgets and board meetings, buildings, and staff. Tia and I have a running discussion under the heading, whom can we get to do what? We don't want to overload anyone. When that happens, we lose people. We are organized to spread the work around and to put flesh and muscle on these principles, to make the most we can of them, and to hope they will make the most they can of us. And now we conclude with another mourn, not just mourn, but mourn hymn. Do you need to say anything about this?
Just briefly. I love this hymn. My sister wrote it about 25 years ago with a member of the congregation she was the head of in Nashville. And it's very fast, but it really has a simple melody too. So even though you're not familiar with it, sing out when you feel the Spirit.
and stand or sit, whichever you're welcome doing.
Yeah, there's an intro, the same as the...
Thank you, John, and please thank your sister for us. Our closing words are from the back of the hymnal by Laura Lynn Bellamy. If here you have found freedom, take it with you into the world. If you have found comfort, go and share it with others. If you have dreamed dreams, help one another that they may become true. If you have known love, give some back to a bruised and hurting world. Go in peace. Laura Lynn Bellamy.